April 12th, 1945. Warm Springs, Georgia. The President of the United States collapses while posing for a portrait. His last words? "I have a terrific headache." What happened next was kept secret for hours while the entire course of World War II hung in the balance. Welcome back to Arthur Lee's Adventures. I'm Arthur Lee, and we're 11 states deep into our journey across America's hidden history. If you've been following along, you know that each state has surprised us in ways we never expected. But Georgia? Georgia has been keeping some absolutely incredible secrets. I've uncovered 10 mind-blowing facts about the Peach State that will change how you see this place forever. We're starting with number 10 and working our way up to the most shocking revelation at number 1. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming. If you're new here, welcome to the adventure. That subscribe button helps more than you know. Fact number 10. The Okefenokee Swamp covers 438,000 acres of southeastern Georgia. But here's what makes it incredible. This entire massive ecosystem sits on what was once an ancient ocean lagoon from 6,500 years ago. The swamp gets its name from a Seminole word meaning trembling earth. And that name makes perfect sense when you understand what you're actually walking on. The ground beneath your feet isn't really ground at all. It's floating peat islands up to 15 feet thick that literally shake and tremble when you step on them. Picture walking across 400,000 acres where the earth moves beneath you. The swamp is home to over 400 vertebrate species and serves as the headwater for both the Suwannee and St. Mary's rivers. This ancient lagoon turned into one of the most unique ecosystems in North America. Coming in at number 9. Brasstown Bald. Georgia's highest peak at 4,784 feet. But here's the thing that made me laugh out loud when I discovered it. The name has absolutely nothing to do with brass. Zero. The Cherokee called this mountain Inota, meaning new green place. But when European settlers arrived, they got their Cherokee words confused. They mixed up Inota with Unsayi, which actually means brass. So they named Georgia's highest mountain after a translation mistake. The Cherokee considered this peak sacred, and honestly, standing up there on a clear day, you can see 4 states. The view is incredible. A visitor center and observation deck were built at the summit in 1969, connected by a half-mile paved trail. But every time someone says Brasstown Bald, they're basically repeating a 200-year-old misunderstanding. Fact number 8 takes us to December 15th, 1939. Atlanta's Loew's Grand Theater, the world premiere of Gone with the Wind. Now, movie premieres today are big events, right? This one cost $4 million in today's money and lasted 3 entire days. Think about that for a second. The city of Atlanta had 300,000 residents. The premiere drew 300,000 visitors. The population of the city literally doubled. Clark Gable, Vivian Leigh, and Olivia de Havilland all attended this massive celebration. The premiere was broadcast live on radio to 500 stations nationwide. But here's the part that still bothers me. Hattie McDaniel, who won an Academy Award for her role in the film, was excluded from the premiere because of segregation laws. The original Loew's Grand Theater was demolished in 1978, but that premiere remains one of the most extravagant movie events in history. Number 7 brings us to one of the bloodiest battles fought on Georgia soil. The Siege of Savannah in 1779. French and American forces launched what they hoped would be a decisive assault to retake the city from the British. Instead, it became a disaster. Over 1,000 French and American casualties in a single day. October 9th, 1779. The assault included 3,500 French troops under Count d'Estaing and American forces fighting side by side. But the British were ready. Their casualties? Fewer than 150. During this failed assault, Count Casimir Pulaski, known as the father of American cavalry, was mortally wounded. He died 2 days later. The siege lasted from September 16th to October 18th, making it one of the longest and bloodiest engagements in Georgia during the Revolutionary War. Sometimes the most important battles are the ones that failed. We're halfway through, and honestly, the next 5 facts are going to blow your mind even more. Fact number 6. Rebecca Latimer Felton became the first woman ever to serve in the United States Senate. She represented Georgia for exactly 2 days in November 1922. At 87 years old, she was appointed to fill the Senate seat after Tom Watson died in September. But here's what makes her story incredible. Male politicians tried everything they could to prevent her from being sworn in. They didn't want a woman in the Senate, even for a few days. Felton fought back with a defiant speech demanding that women be given more political representation. She served from November 21st to November 23rd, 1922. 2 days. But those 2 days paved the way for every female senator who came after her. Sometimes the shortest service makes the biggest impact. Number 5 takes us to New Echota, Georgia, July 26, 1827. The Cherokee Nation did something that had never been done before in American history. They established the first written constitution by a Native American tribe. This wasn't just a simple agreement. This was a sophisticated government document modeled after the United States Constitution, complete with a bicameral legislature and executive branch. New Echota served as the Cherokee capital from 1825 to 1838. The Cherokee had also created a written language in 1821 and published the first Native American newspaper, the Cherokee Phoenix, in 1828. Think about this. While most Americans still considered Native Americans as primitive, the Cherokee had created a written language, established a newspaper, and formed a constitutional government. This sophisticated democracy was dismantled during the Trail of Tears. What could have been if history had taken a different path? We're in the top 5 now, and this next fact is hard to hear. But it's a story that needs to be told. Andersonville Prison in southwest Georgia, built in February 1864 to hold 10,000 Union prisoners. By the time it closed in April 1865, 45,000 men had been imprisoned there. 12,912 documented deaths in just 14 months. That's a death rate that peaked at 100 deaths per day in August 1864. The conditions were horrific. Disease, malnutrition, overcrowding. The Confederacy was struggling with resources, and these prisoners paid the ultimate price. After the war, Commander Henry Wirtz was executed for war crimes. He was the only Confederate officer executed for his wartime actions. Today, Andersonville is preserved as a National Historic Site. A reminder that even in war, some lines should never be crossed. Number 3. Jekyll Island, Georgia, November 20th through 30th, 1910. 6 men representing 1/4 of the world's wealth met in secret at the Jekyll Island Club. Their mission? To plan what would become the Federal Reserve System. Senator Nelson Aldrich led the group, which included J.P. Morgan's representative Henry Davison. They traveled in a private railroad car under false names to avoid detection. For 10 days, these men essentially designed the American banking system that we still use today. The meeting was kept secret for over 2 decades. Can you imagine? The Federal Reserve Act, passed by Congress in 1913, was based on discussions that happened during a secret meeting on a Georgia island. 6 men, 10 days, the entire American financial system. The more I researched this, the crazier it got. This wasn't just a business meeting. This was the reshaping of American capitalism. Buckle up for number 2, because this story is wild. May 8th, 1886. Atlanta, Georgia. A pharmacist named John Stith Pemberton creates a syrup that he believes will cure morphine addiction. Here's the twist. Pemberton himself was addicted to morphine after a Civil War wound, so he created this drink containing cocaine from coca leaves and caffeine from cola nuts. He sold the syrup for 5 cents a glass at Jacob's Pharmacy at 2 Peachtree Street in Atlanta. What was this miracle cure called? Coca-Cola. Yes, that Coca-Cola. Pemberton sold only 25 gallons in the first year and actually lost money on the venture. The cocaine was removed from the formula in 1903, but for 17 years, Coca-Cola contained actual cocaine. The most famous soft drink in the world started as a morphine addiction treatment that contained cocaine. You can't make this stuff up. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Fact number 1. This is the story that made me want to do this episode in the first place. April 12th, 1945. The Little White House in Warm Springs, Georgia. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt is posing for a portrait by artist Elizabeth Shumatoff. At 3:35 in the afternoon, Roosevelt says, "I have a terrific headache," and collapses from a cerebral hemorrhage. The President of the United States was dead. But here's what most people don't know. The White House delayed announcing his death for several hours while arrangements were made. Vice President Harry Truman wasn't informed until 7:09 that evening. For over 3 hours, America had no president, and nobody knew it. Roosevelt had been visiting Warm Springs since 1924 for polio treatment in the natural thermal waters. On that April day, World War II was still raging. The decision to delay the announcement was unprecedented. The leader of the free world had died in a small Georgia town, and the news was kept secret while history held its breath. From the trembling earth of the Okefenokee to the secret death of a president in Warm Springs, Georgia has proven it's anything but ordinary. Which of these facts surprised you the most? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you want to discover more hidden stories like these, subscribe and hit that bell. I release new adventures every week exploring America's forgotten history. Next time, we're heading to a state with an even wilder collection of secrets. Trust me, fact number 2 on that list had me researching for hours just to make sure it was real. Thanks for joining me on another adventure. Until next time, keep exploring.